morning, everyone, and welcome to JVS Job Seekers. My name is Elisa Udaskin, and I am a director here at JVS, Jewish Vocational Service of MetroWest. We're located in East Orange, New Jersey, and we also have a location in Montclair, New Jersey. So as I always do, I start off by telling you a little bit about JVS. We started in 1939, and we have continuously worked to help people overcome barriers they're facing to get jobs and to get employment and to get back on their feet. We are delighted to be presenting and sharing our JVS Job Seekers webinars with you. They are generously sponsored by the Greater Federation of MetroWest and by Project M, which is part of the network of Jewish Human Social Service agencies. We thank them so much for their generosity so that we can bring these webinars to you for free. So this morning, you guys are in for like the biggest treat ever, I think, since I've been doing this. We have our guest speaker, Brynne Tillman. Before I introduce Brynne, let me just tell you guys a few housekeeping things. Number one is this is being recorded, and I'm talking to the people who are with us live right now. It's being recorded. Number two is Brynne has generously put together a document with all the different steps and all of her materials that we're sharing today that I will be emailing out to you guys. At the latest, you'll get it tomorrow, okay? And the third thing is if you could kindly refrain from using the chat to introduce yourselves. I promise you that we have time at the end where we're going to be doing the networking and using the chat and talking to each other and things like that. We'd like to keep the chat clean of questions that you have for Brynne. And so Hannah, who's here from JBS, we're going to be monitoring the chat, and we will break in at different times and we'll call upon you to ask your questions. So I want you to sit back and enjoy and take it all in. And let me introduce Brynne. Brynne Tillman is the CEO of Social Sales Link and the LinkedIn Whisperer, with more than 30 years helping sales professionals build trust-based relationships that actually convert. She is the author of the LinkedIn Sales Playbook, the LinkedIn Edge, and Prompt Writing Made Easy. She is the co-host of Making Sales Social podcast and creator of Brynne.ai, a 24/7 AI sales coach built around her proven methodology. Brynne teaches professionals at every level how to turn LinkedIn into a resource for buyers, not a resume. So conversations lead to relationships and relationships lead to revenue. And Brynne has taken all of her amazing knowledge and expertise in terms of coaching and teaching people in sales, and we're going to be applying that to helping job seekers and how to leverage in your untapped network. So over to you, Brynne.
Thank you. And I think adapted is a great word. I love that. Thanks for having me, everyone. We're going to dive in, and actually we're going to do real world live experiments with what we're doing today. But I want to talk before we go live into LinkedIn a little bit about why this is so critically important. First of all, LinkedIn is the place to find a job. We know that, right? Like that is the number one platform. But why is it so important? The number one reason why I think it's so important is because this is where our relationships live. This is the opportunity to see who we know and where they're working and who they know that we want to know. And really mapping these relationships out to help us gain access into opportunities is the differentiator, right? I'm sure all of you have felt the pressure of just applying blindly for a job, maybe not hearing anything for weeks and then saying we filled it internally, right? Well, this is happening because there are so many people that are applying for the same job without a differentiator beyond your resume. So relationships are the big one, right? When someone at a company refers you internally, your resume goes to the top of the pile. It just does. So I'm going to tell you a quick little story about my friend John Aquino, who was laid off from a role. Well, he was a video guy at a local news station, and they laid off like 30 people. It was in the Philadelphia market. And so there were 30 people that were applying for 2 or 3 jobs in the Philadelphia market that were all qualified. When he saw this opportunity come in, we looked at his LinkedIn connections, and he saw that Gavin McMorrow's had a connection that was in HR at the company he was applying for. So we picked up the phone and we called Gavin. He's like, "Who is this?" He goes, "Oh, that's my mom." His resume got to the top of the pile. He got an interview and he got the job. We never would have known in all of our network who knew someone at that company. And he's still there. It's many years later. So that's what we're going to talk about today. How do we map out who you know that can help you access companies and opportunities that will give you that upper edge? Are we ready? Does that sound good?
Yes, we are.
All right, let's do it. So we are going to go live. Lisa's going to share her screen, and we are going to start to leverage her connections in search. And again, all the steps that we're going to go through will be emailed to you, literally step by step. It's pretty simple to follow. It may feel overwhelming live, but you are going to get the exact steps, and you can watch it again with the recording. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to map out companies that Elisa already has a relationship in. So this is going to be the start. Now, one of the things I'm going to say, because LinkedIn has a tendency of rolling out new interfaces randomly. So there may be a step that Elisa does and you're like, that's not there for me. It will be somewhere else. So if you have, in fact, there was a new interface that's rolling out right now. So some people can access things in one way, some in another. If you feel stuck, by the way, you can always reach out to me and say, where'd it go? Because we'll find it.
May I just share?
Yes.
The reason that we think this is so timely to share this right now is because, as you guys know, I always prepare beforehand for our webinars. And Brynne and I, a couple weeks ago, went through everything, the presentation live. And then I said, you know what? I'm going to just like play with it and go through the exercise yesterday. And yesterday afternoon, I couldn't find one of the key things that she wanted me to look for. And I was going nuts. I actually lost some sleep last night, but I got to work early. I ended up on LinkedIn help chat. Okay. And that's another thing you did. And we figured out what it was, what they changed. Brynne and I got on the phone. We figured out what they changed because they do update and they do change, but everything was still there. So everything was still there, just a different way. So you could reach out to Brynne, you can reach out to myself or LinkedIn help. So it just things update constantly. And that was a real fun thing.
It was so much fun. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to map out companies where we already have a connection. So I am going to use my little red arrow so you can see where we are headed. So if you click on the My Network button, that's going to take you into kind of another mapping out of opportunities. But we are going to go one step further and click on your connections, and my arrow is not moving. Hold on, there we go.
Yeah,
Oh,
it is. It was moving.
oh, good, great. And then we're going to click on search with filters. So once you click on that, we are now in this back end filter inside of LinkedIn that most people don't even know exists. This is where it can really get fun. Now, by default, it's showing people, and we're going to come back to people in a little while, but we're going to take this drop down and we're going to click on the people button, and we are going to click on companies. So you can see we can search by many different filters. In this case, we're going to start with companies. From here, you'll see other filters that are available: location, industry, company size, or exactly, we can click on all filters to open up a little plethora of opportunities. So if we go with location, I'll share for a moment in location. There are lots of options. You could do New York metropolitan area. You could do all of New Jersey. You could do towns. So let's say you are looking for, 5 or 6 towns that you don't want to commute much. Or maybe I only want to be in Hoboken or Jersey City or wherever it is that you're searching. We can go as small as a zip code and as long as as large as the globe. So I think for this example, maybe we'll just do New York metropolitan area. Does that make sense?
I was thinking about New Jersey, just
Okay,
because
for
the
this example, let's just do New Jersey. That's perfect,
okay.
right? And
Do I
so we,
press enter?
yeah, no, I would click on New Jersey,
Yeah.
right? And we can go down. So if there were industries that you were specifically looking to get into, right? So if you wanted to go, you do pharmaceutical or I mean, you could go just general. And by the way, sometimes when you're doing this for the first time, it's kind of good to look at all the companies where you have a connection. But in this case, if we're going to choose manufacturing, now let's go down to company size. Some of you may say, you know what, I really only want a well-established company with more than 500 employees. Other folks are like, I want a little family office, so under 50 would be great. So you're going to determine kind of what is your ideal size. If you don't choose any filter here, it will do all of them. So when you play with this, you may want to just start with companies and first degree connection and maybe New Jersey. And then you can continue to build on this search to hone in on your ideal companies. But now if you see at the bottom, there's connections. Yep. And then if we click show results, we are now going to see a list of all of Elisa's first degree connections companies, all of New Jersey companies in manufacturing where she has a first degree connection. And as we go through here, there are 14. And I'll show you if you can scroll up for a second, because a lot of people go, how do you know how many? So right up here, you'll see a number, 14 there. So we know how many companies are here. So as we look at this is allowing us to now see, like, let's say you go, oh, I really would love Merck. Merck is great. Elisa knows 4 people at Merck, right? So there's Lee and 3 others. That means that there are 4 people working at Merck right now where that she could leverage to potentially get an introduction internally, right? You have Novartis, you have, so these are, and this is only manufacturing, right? So she's got these 14 companies, and now they may not, and likely they're not the hiring manager, but this is the opportunity to click in. So let's say you wanted to get to biotechnology and you look at Archer. So if we click on Archer, let's go back up for a sec. So let's click Archer works here. Oh, no,
Oh, you're looking for a person. I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. Under, yeah, there.
Oh, it's
Okay.
Asher.
Oh, Asher. I added
Yeah,
an R
Roots.
for no reason at all. I added an R.
Oh my God. His mother-in-law, his in-laws, like were friends with my parents from when they both first came to Canada, and they're still friends. Oh my gosh, I haven't thought of Asher in a long time. Okay, keep going.
Asher. Yeah, so this is the perfect example, right? So now he happens to be in Toronto, but Merck is in New Jersey. And so if there's an opportunity in New Jersey that you are applying to, and maybe there's not even a listed opportunity,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean you should not leverage your connection. So you reach out to Asher. You have, hey, I'm really looking at Merck as an opportunity for my next role. I'm wondering if you'd mind jumping on a quick call, maybe share a little bit of your experience or the culture, with the goal ultimately for him to just hand in your resume to HR. Right now, there's also the benefit of he probably gets $500 for handing it in anyway. So, if you get hired, not just for handing it in. Otherwise, that would be my full-time job. But just handing in resumes. No, but if you got hired, right, they get a benefit from that. So this is a perfect opportunity. So let's back arrow. Let's go back out of reaching out, and you not even thinking like if we had generally said, hey, I want to apply to, I forgot the name of the company that he, if you didn't do this, you would just be another resume.
Okay, so Brynne, I have a couple questions about this. It
Yeah,
actually came through the chat, so I'm just going to ask, okay?
perfect.
So, so here, for example, Mondelez. So I put in New Jersey, right? But
Hmm.
it says right here in just this little snapshot, it says Greater Chicago. I know you're going to great. It says Greater Chicago area. So let's use that as example, or Bear in
Okay, so that's their
Germany.
headquarters,
Okay,
but this is saying they have a location in New Jersey.
okay. So
So
that's the first question.
yeah. So their headquarters may be, I actually, you may see some global organizations, but if they have if they have a location listed in New Jersey, they will come up in this search.
Right. And so by doing that filter of New Jersey, you're going to see this, but that means they have a location, which is great. And you may find companies that you didn't even think about that they have a location in New Jersey. The second thing is that when it says here connections worker, obviously I have the most at Mondelez because that's where I had my first act of my career. Does that mean 71 people are actually working there, or like in this case, or that used to work there? We're going to get into that, aren't we? Like people who used to work there and people who currently work there.
Yeah, these are currently listed on
Okay,
their LinkedIn profile for actually working there. So
thank you.
and if you actually, what I would do at a list that big is I'd hover over Nicholas plus 71 and I'd right click open a new tab. So if you right click and open a new tab, we don't lose this search, but now we get to see all of them.
Like
Yep,
this, open
yep.
link in new
Or new
tab.
window, either one works. Yep. So if you click on that, yep, you could do that. It's going to open a new window. And then when you close the window, you'll be back here. So we may not see that window. So let's go back and do that as new tab because of how you shared your screen. So let's
Uh-oh.
go back.
Am
That's
I
okay.
good?
Just close that out and we'll do right click on Nicholas, open a new tab. You can do this anywhere on the internet, by the way. This is not a LinkedIn thing. So, rather
Thank
than,
you.
yeah, so now we don't have to back arrow every time. So if we go up and we click on that tab that just opened, the second tab up, yep. Now we're going to see all 72 of those people that, right, in the list. So as you go through here, now obviously a ton of people here, but these are people that currently are working there. So you go
However,
to, yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I just want
Yeah.
to point these things out for people. I know that already some of these people have left, were downsized recently, or have, it was their last job and they retired and they didn't change that they're still working there.
That
So there
is,
will be an element of that, everybody, of still doing the diligence and reaching out to someone. And this happened to me once where a few years ago that I saw that somebody was working at a pharmaceutical company that I wanted to link in. My neighbor talked to his wife. I ended up speaking to him. And the first thing he said to me is, Elisa, I actually was let go 2 months ago. But guess what happened? We ended up forming our own sort of buddy system of job searching and sharing. And it was such a great relationship. So even though he wasn't working at that company of why I started to network with him, it still was extremely fruitful and extremely important to have that connection. So it's not always, you got to be flexible with all of this and
mhm.
agile and adaptable. Please continue.
Yeah, no, that's great. And you will find that now occasionally especially if they retired or something else, they may still have a connection there.
Yeah.
So they could absolutely make that introduction. So now let's say, okay, so this is a dynamic list, right? This list is built on these filters. So if in fact this is a list that we want to come back to, so as you build your network, let's say we connect with someone else in this size company in manufacturing at a networking meeting, this 14 will go to 15, right? If someone else comes into your network that meets these filters, this will update. It will self update because what's happening is we are searching by filters. It's not a static list. So I love to use bookmarks. This is where I come in, and the resource that you'll get has how do we create bookmarks. But for now, if you just click on the star in whether you're in Chrome or Edge, that if you look up at in the URL, we're outside of LinkedIn now and we're in Chrome. We can name this. So, and you can see that Elisa has a folder called LinkedIn. We do recommend that you do that. But if you do manufacturing first and NJ, right? So now we know, and then we hit done. We can come back to this list anytime we want without having to go through this again. So if we go to the all bookmarks, we'll pull that up and you'll see, and we'll do this with quite a few different things. So we go to the LinkedIn, and then that was our, this is now a second search, right? So we could click on that and that will come back to this search dynamically. Okay.
Yes.
Highly recommend playing around with that. Any questions before we do the next search, which is on people and first degree connections?
Yes. 1 second. Let me just review, please.
And guys, if you can, if we're hitting, if this is good, if you're following, good thumbs up. If you have questions, please put them in chat for sure. Looks like
Yes,
there's
yes. All the questions are coming in chat. And so I'm now going to call on, so Carol Brown. I'm just going to read it out just so that we can keep going. Okay, Carol?
yes,
And tell
sure.
me if you want to add anything else. If a company has multiple sites across the country or globe, how does filtering on location work? Only on the HQ location or all their locations? I think we answered that, but why don't
Yeah.
you explain that again?
Yeah, so that is definitely going to come up as the headquarter location. Or I mean, it'll show the headquarter location, but it will bring up all of their, and wherever they have a location will get included in that search.
Okay. And then John asked a question that you are going to be addressing later, but I will say the question. Is this strategy only for when you're looking to network into an org, or is this also applicable when we come across an opportunity? So we see a job posting, and so you are going to be going through that.
Yeah, I mean, we can hop to that. We don't have to follow. Why don't we do that one
Well, let
next?
me give you, um,
Okay.
oh, Linda Schwartz. If I'm going through Elisa's connections and see someone in a company that I want to contact, do I reach out to them? Do I
You
reach
reach
out to
out,
Elisa?
you reach out to
To
Elise.
to them or Elisa? I can answer that because you used my name. Please reach out to me. It will be more effective for you if then I make the introduction for you. Right?
Or that she's giving permission to name drop. I have had people name,
Oh, good one.
yeah.
Okay.
So I have gotten on calls with folks, and there's like 12 people. And I'm like, look, if you just reach out, like if you reach out to Elisa and mention my name, she will likely take your call. Just say, hey, I was talking with Brynne. Your name came up. She says hello. She thought we should connect. There are people in my life that that's appropriate to just say, hey, just reach out. There are other
Mhm.
people that I have a relationship with, haven't talked to in years, and making an introduction feels better than name dropping. But you're not going to ever know the right way to do that before you have a conversation with the person. So don't ever name drop without permission, ever. Don't ever, like, it will backfire. And then I've had people do that. And then it was actually a hiring manager who was a client of mine, reached out and said, do you know this person? And I'm like, I'm connected, but I don't know them. And they got blacklisted for doing that from the
Mhm,
company.
mhm, mhm.
So it can actually do the opposite.
Yeah, and it also, of course, is related to when you're getting referrals. It was more a young person, two different young people, had companies for a referral to me, but they forgot or didn't realize to ask me. So I didn't know it was coming and I didn't know about the job. And so to make it not backfire, but to make it work for you, it's always best when you're using someone as a connection for anything to talk to them first, email them, text them. It will just make it better for you. There was just one more question, Brynne, related to this section, which is we were looking in location. What if you're looking for remote jobs? Is there a way to
So
use these filters? Mhm.
yeah, this isn't about remote, right? Like this is just what companies do I have
Totally.
representation in? So if that doesn't matter to you, you could do all of the US, you could do the whole globe, right? If it doesn't matter. If you are solely looking for a remote position, then the location won't matter in your search filters.
Yeah.
And you may now flip this, right? Because this was just our first search. The next search is if there is an opportunity. Is that what the question was, right? There's an opportunity. How do I find out?
Yes, Jean, that was your question. Yeah. So like you say you're applying to a company, you see a job posting, you want to apply and you want to see if you know anyone. Is that correct? Yes.
That
Okay. Yes.
okay, perfect. Okay, so let's clear out the cookies by clicking on the big in at the top left. And this is just kind of like, and I always do this. Otherwise, it searches break because it has something in its memory from the last search and you can't figure it out. So this like clears its brain. So we're starting over. So from here now, we're going to go back to the My Network. We're going to click on Connections. And then we're going to click on Search with Filters. And we're back to this back end opportunity. And from here, we are now going to search for a company name. So we're not going to do all filters from here. Actually,
Okay.
we could have actually probably, I apologize. You know what? Let's do this again. So we have it
Can we
in.
do this?
No, because I want to make this easier. We didn't have to go through all of that. I'm going to do this one more time. Let's click on the in again for this particular example and just type the company name here.
Okay. I'm going to type in Unilever. Is that okay?
It's great. I love
Okay.
Unilever. I use their products.
Okay.
And we'll choose it from the drop down. So this is one of the ways, one of the easier ways to search is just to simply go to their company page, and I'll take you through some opportunities, right? So if we click on Unilever, yep, view page, perfect. And this is going to look a little bit different than the last search. Let's click on people. Oops, sorry, hold on. Let's click on people here. And this is going to take us to a back end. But if I go now, just scroll down just a tiny bit. Okay. So these are different filters. If I click on the little arrow going to the right, and I go all the way to the end, it might be 2 clicks. See if it's maybe 3.
I'm just going slow. That's why. There we go.
Okay. So now we see down here, you have 4 first degree connections here. So if we click on that 4, and then we scroll down, we can see who you know at that company. So let's scroll down and you'll see all 4 profiles. Does that make sense?
This is
Yes.
yeah, yes, it makes sense.
So we can go in that direction. Now we can also scroll down if we wanted to. Maybe I think we'll.
Should we look at our second degrees and see what we would do with those people? Do you want to go through that
I would
or no?
like to do that when we get to people. So
Okay.
when we're doing companies, I typically like to play in the firsts first. When we
Okay.
get to people, we'll play in the second degree because
Okay.
ultimately what I want to do is find the right people and then who do I know that could get me there. So because if I have a UX design manager, if she's a second degree, like I'm going to get there and she's gonna like, I don't hire for this. This isn't me. If it's a first degree, you're already connected. They're happy to have the conversation. But if it's the hiring manager or someone responsible, for that, they're more likely to want to have a conversation.
So I wanted to bring something up, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which is that there are 4 people here. So I need to evaluate whether I reach out to them, who I really know, and who I kind of don't really know. Because as you keep building up your LinkedIn, you might not remember people. People might just like link in with you and you might not really know them. So the first thing that I would do, is it okay, Brynne, if I talk about this? About how to
Please.
select these people? Okay. So the first thing I would do is I would say, okay, you know what? I actually know all 4 of these people because they all used to work at Mondelez and Kraft. Okay. Then the second thing I'm thinking is pretty sure Norma Jean is retired. Um, Judith, haven't spoken to her in years and I wasn't that close with her. Christine and Mirasol, I definitely like worked directly with them while it was years ago. And Mirasol is the one who I worked with most recently, but I worked with her when I was in Singapore. So she is actually, I looked, and based in the Netherlands. Christine is based in Canada, but guess what? I'm looking for a job in New Jersey. Does not matter because I have a closest relationship with Mirasol and Christine, and I know that they'll get back to me. I have a higher chance of them getting back to me than the other 2. So I'll reach out to both of them and say, hey, haven't spoken to you in a long time. Hope everything is going well. I know I'm just going to be forthright instead of being embarrassed about it. I haven't spoken to you in 20 years, but I need a favor. I'm applying for this job at Unilever. I was wondering if you could help get my resume seen by the HR hiring manager. That's it. That's what I'm asking. And if you have an internal referral, please go through that process. But that's how, if I had these people, I would decide who to reach out to amongst them. That would be my logic.
Yeah, I love that. And the other option is asking for a conversation. Just so if I don't know Judith, with Judith, it's been a really long time. I'm going to be applying at Unilever. I'm wondering if you have just 10 minutes to help me understand, the culture and see if this would be a good fit for me. And it sometimes that becomes a really great that conversation. Now you can say, do you get credit if you hand in my resume and I get hired? So that's another, if you're like, I don't really want to ask that yet because if she doesn't remember me. The other thing that you can do, actually, this is kind of fun. So let's say you really don't remember Judith at all, but you're pretty sure you worked at the same company. If you click on Judith, and I would do right click open in new tab, or you can click through, but click on Judith's name. Yeah. And then you click on the contact, or click contact information next to New Jersey. Oh, she lives in West Orange. So do I. I thought she looked familiar. No, I'm kidding. We can see here that you connected back in October of 2018. So that's actually October 2018 is my daughter, when my daughter got married. So this
Oh
is
my God.
connecting with her, and I was planning a wedding. So if we close through this, if you reach out and say, Judith, I'm not sure if you recall, but we connected back in October of 2018.
Oh,
Now all of a sudden she's like, well, I don't remember her, but she remembers me. Like, because she's like, how do you remember that? Because people don't know you could do that. It warms it up. Right. She's like, wow, I can't believe she remembers when we connected.
yeah. And then the other thing that I wanted to add here is that I know that most people and clients are really hesitant about reaching out to someone who they haven't spoken to in years or who may not remember them. Okay. Guys, this is normal. I feel that way. Okay. It is totally normal. But guess what? It's normalized and it's standard and it's the way things work nowadays. So people expect that because every single person, if they have never looked for a job, their partner, their neighbor, their friend, someone has. Every single person has encountered this behavior of somebody trying to network or networking, and it's all about paying it forward. So try to get over your hesitancy of, I'm not sure if they'll remember me, or I really haven't spoken to them in so long, and all that, and just do it.
the other thing is, think about from your perspective. If someone asks you for a favor, it feels good. Like if they can help you, that and you're doing them a favor because you're making them feel good, and maybe they get a 500 or $1,000 when you get when you get hired. So
Mhm.
this is not, the worst case is they just say no or they ignore you, and then you just go next,
Yes.
right? That's it. That's the worst thing. Okay. Any other questions on this, on the company side of things before we jump into, oops.
Okay. So, okay.
Mhm.
So back, continuing with the example of I want to apply for a job. John, I ask you a question. I'm applying for this job and I want to look for a connection. And we talked about this, Brynne, so it's coming up now. The speed and the strategy. So we're advised to apply within 24 hours, given because there's so many right now and they disappear. So how do you do that whole thing of reaching out to the contact saying I'm going to apply? Can
So
I
you could
apply
say,
first?
um, maybe I would still reach out and say, I'm going to be applying within the next 24 hours. I'm curious. Now, if you know them well, just say, hey, can I use your name when I apply? If you know them well, can I put your name down as a referral source when I apply? But if you don't know them well, I want you to have, they come back and say yes, done. It's fine if you want to apply that way. Then you go back and say, so I applied. I'm wondering if you jump on a call or tell me a little bit more, maybe, because they can still send your resume over even if you've applied, I believe. But from an internal referral perspective, I want to make sure that I have permission to use their name when I apply. If that's an option. Um, so apply within the 24 hours, but I would still reach out first to see if there's a better way to do that. Um, and sometimes they'll say to you, yes, apply online and I'll do this. You still have to apply online and we'll do it this way. Um, but I would say try the warm conversation before. And if you hit 24 hours without a response, go ahead and apply.
Thank you.
Do you agree with that?
I do.
Okay, good.
I do because things have changed a lot, Brynne. Um, a couple of factors. They're closing them sooner in term because they're getting inundated with so many resumes. So they're closing them sooner. And the other thing is that not everybody is looking at their LinkedIn or getting their emails from LinkedIn, especially if they're like been working somewhere for a long time. They're not really looking at LinkedIn as much because they're not looking at for job search. And so it will take a few days before someone even gets back to you. So you don't want to wait. And that's attention in terms of that time that most job seekers face, right? It's like you're waiting, hoping the person gets back to you, but maybe they haven't even seen it. So you need to just apply and get your resume in and then follow up afterwards.
Yeah. So I just saw it come over like if we haven't gotten permission for that referral, find another way potentially if you know them well enough. All you need to do is get permission. Can I use your name when I apply? Find their phone number and text to them. Look on Facebook. Go, if there's a lot of opportunity. You don't have to reach out on LinkedIn. LinkedIn gave you or only reach out. I would definitely reach out there. But you can go lots of other channels. If you worked with them and they're still at that company, you know their email. So you can reach out that way. Call the company and just say, hey, can I talk with Marisol? Right? Like there are ways to get in touch with them. And the closer you are to them, the more comfortable this outreach is, of course. But like one,
Yes.
so um and we want to use their name, but also they will likely want you to use their name too. Rarely are they, unless they don't like you, and then you should have known that before you reached out. No, like they want that credit. It looks good.
Yes, it does.
So yeah. Um,
Okay, let's proceed.
Yep. Yes. So if you are first degree connected, you can grab their email. You could, it may be their Yahoo email, it may not be their professional email, but I will show you actually. Let's do that. Click on Judith again. And I'm gonna, oh, yeah, click, that's great. So let's open her up again. And then let's go to contact information again. And you'll see her listed. So where we just looked before, you'll also see in here. So that's her Gmail. So you can send to her Gmail.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and she has her mobile number there. You can text her. So take advantage of that opportunity beyond waiting for them to respond on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. The next thing we want to do is we want to do this from a people search. And so this is going to be the next search we did company. So if we click now on my network tab again, and then we click on connections, and then search all filters, search with filters. Yeah. Now it is going to default to people. And so that's where we are. And it's defaulting to our first degree people. We are now going to click on all filters and we're going to add in location and industry. So we're doing this before we did it from the company perspective. Now we're going to do it from the person perspective. So if we go back to locations and we do New Jersey, and then we can add in, so, we can do pharmaceutical, manufacturing, hospital, healthcare. We can add a few in there if we wanted to, so they can see that there's more than, yep. So we can go down to industry. There it is, industries. Now there are lots of other filters. We're going to go through another one in a moment that we'll see. But in industries, let's add like 3 or 4. So let's do manufacturing, pharmaceutical, hospital, healthcare. Let's do that. Yeah. Pharma. Perfect.
Like that? Hospitals and healthcare?
Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Okay.
And then let's go down to show results.
So I have to
And
move you over. Okay, there we go.
I always have 2 screens open, so
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Not fancy here. Okay. I
All
know
right.
that's a
So
simple thing.
now this is that reverse search, right? It's not by company, it's by people. So what you don't get, unfortunately, is the count here. But if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there's 10 people per page. So you can get a rough idea if you look all the way at the bottom on how many connections we have on here. So you have more than 100 people that match this criteria,
Yeah.
which is great. So we're coming at this from who do I know inside of this inside of these organizations, and we can start from there. Now we're going to go in a minute, but like this is generally a really good list of folks from our perspective. Like we can see talent acquisition manager at I don't know what company it is, but if we
Yeah, so you have to click on it to actually see the company because people don't put their company in their headline all the time. But when you go down here, I know her. So she's at the Gellert Group, which is a big manufacturer in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Okay, yeah.
That's awesome. And if we back arrow, I tend, and this is just a good habit to get into, is to right click, open a new tab or open a new window, because otherwise we lose our place often.
Okay, can you remind me how to do that again, please?
So oh yeah, so hover over her name and then right click, open a new tab. So wherever there's a hyperlink, wherever you could, so let's look at Kimberly O'Connor. Let's hover over Kimberly's name and then right click, open a new tab. I would, yeah, just for the sake of because you're sure, yeah. So now you can see Kimberly's open. Now, by the way, you can open up 4 or 5, right click, open a new tab, and it's going to open a new tab, and then you can go look at them.
Okay.
So for me, this is way more productive than having to back arrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So if we like this list and we want to look through this, this is great. We're going to go one deeper, but we can save this list if we should choose to.
So that's the bookmark thing, right?
Yeah, so you would just click on the star and name we don't have to do this one if you don't want
Yeah.
to. We'll do another one in just a moment.
Okay.
So now we've got this big list, right? We've got a big list of that they're not all hiring managers. They're just people that are working at these at the right organizations. I want to now kind of bring this into the types of people that I want to talk to. So it might be the hiring manager, it might be talent acquisition. I'm going to copy and paste this into chat as an example. And we use Boolean search logic, which can be frustrating initially, but I just pasted what I want you to copy and paste in chat. Oh, I sent that to a direct message, sorry. I want to send to all. So if you guys are direct messaging me, I'm not looking at that yet. So I would not direct message me. So if you copy that, so if you look, I built it out. Hiring manager is in quotation marks because I want those two words together. Director of human.
Are you talking to me
Yeah,
or everyone? Okay. So I have to go
everyone.
into.
No, it's for everyone. It's for everyone. But I
Okay.
sent it to. It's in chat for people to see, so anyone can copy that. So if you copy that, Elisa, and we can paste that into the I'm looking for.
Okay. I just have to find my chat.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there it is. Found it. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
I just
Now I just tried to
something
get
else open. Perfect. Okay.
okay.
So now I
So
copied
now,
it and I
yeah, and then we're gonna paste. Now let's hope it doesn't break our search. Sometimes it does. Nope, it's gonna be great. So now our 100+ people, let's scroll down, right? So let's scroll down. Our 100+ people now we are down to 60, between 50 and 60. But these are the right people. So you may, if you're in a sales role, you may have VP of sales, director of sales. If you are in an operations, you might want COO, operations manager, and you can have up to 5 titles. That the key is if there's more than one word in the title, you want to make sure that you've got the quotation marks around that. And your ors should be capital, OR capital. Sometimes it doesn't work if they're lowercase. So all of the tips, by the way, in building this out are in the resource guide that Lisa's going to share with you. So you will have all of that. But now we have our first degree connections that are the hiring managers at these companies. Right. And so we could go ahead and we could actually if we wanted to bookmark this, we don't have to do all the bookmarks for this, but we could. Now let's say you just don't have a lot of people that match this. This is where we're going to switch from first degree. We're going to unclick first degree and then we're going to click on second degree. And it moved. Now we have a list of people that know people, and there's probably thousands, right? So we could drill this down by specific companies. Like if you click on 10, you'll see another list come up.
Yes.
If you look, right, so now what do we see? So we see, if we want to look through and I go, oh, I would really love Chris Pucciarelli. Lisa Freed Groden is your mutual connection. So if you click on Lisa, and actually in the future, which I didn't, but you could right click open it, right? We go, how well do we know Lisa? And if we know her well, we can reach out, we can back arrow again.
I do. Yeah.
Right. And so you can say, hey, Lisa, noticed you're connected
to Chris.
To Chris Pucciarelli over at whatever the company is.
And you do have to click on it to find out the company.
So
is there a way
where I go right click, open a new tab?
But you have to go through each one, right? Like, because you
You
can't
do.
see at a glance their companies.
You do. You used to be able to. It's
You
interesting.
used to be able to. You used to
Yeah.
be able to. Yeah.
So we can right click, open a new tab. Yeah, this is a new look in the last 48 hours. And it may come back. So we can click on Chris. We can see our shared connection is Lisa. So we can see it all from here. And then we can reach out to Lisa and ask for an introduction. And there
She's
are,
at Riccardi Brothers. Yeah. Okay.
okay, yeah. So this, and there's messaging, by the way, and how to do that. We're giving you some messages in there, right? So you'll know what to say when you reach out. But this to me is a really powerful way to bring this down to specific people inside of these companies where I either have a connection or a pathway. So, I reach out, Lisa, knows you're connected to Chris. I'm going to be applying there. How well do you know her? Sometimes you'll see there's 12, or in that case, 71, you had, shared connections. You can reach out to multiple people. You don't have to just pick one. You can have a conversation with multiple people and decide, which one might make sense to have a conversation with.
So we have a few more questions.
Great.
Okay. Okay. So, I think we have time. If I ask people, they can ask the question and talk to you directly. So, Ethan, did you want to ask your question, or do you want me to do it for you?
Yeah. So
Okay.
the question I have is if you find a job at a company, whether it's on LinkedIn or somewhere else, but you don't have a connection or someone in your network or doesn't have a connection to someone at that company, is there a way to search on LinkedIn for either like the hiring manager or HR rep for that company for that job?
For that particular role, I mean, you can
Yeah.
play around with search. We can go into a company. So let's do this. So let's click on the in and we'll start over. And what we can do here, now we'll go in, we're going to go to my network. Now we'll put in the company name. So let's go to my network. You know what? I want to see if this still works. Actually, can you just paste that hiring manager in the I'm looking for? That, yeah, so just paste and then hit enter. Okay, so that still works. Great. So let's click on companies. Okay, nobody's coming up. Let's click on people. I'm going to do one more thing.
This is a drop down.
Yeah, go people, and then we'll click on all filters, and then we're going to add the company name in. Oh, current companies is showing up right there. So let's put in, what's a company that you'd be interested in, Ethan?
Um, just Becton Dickinson.
How do you spell that?
Becton Dickinson.
How do you spell it?
Becton. There you go. It's
Oh,
right there. BD.
the second one or the first
Yeah.
one?
Yeah, that one.
Okay. Thank you.
And do show all. And notice we're not putting any relationship in this at all. So then here are all the people that meet that criteria. None of them in New Jersey, right? We didn't even put in location. I just wanted to see what hiring managers might come up. So that
And they're
may
only
not,
third connections with me. I only have third
yeah.
connections.
So now we could go back in there and put in HR. So if we go to the top and take out that whole long, yeah, so triple click, backspace, and then just put in HR. Let's see what happens. also third. So not a lot, but you may have more relationships in here, right? So
Yeah, Ethan, when you do it, because it's not my industry at all. So
we do
yeah.
have a second. So we could do second
Ooh.
degree. You do have some seconds. So Stephanie knows Karina. So yeah, does that help? Does that answer, Ethan?
Yeah, I think that answers my question. Thank you.
Okay. So Michelle Norton, you had a couple questions. Did you want to ask your questions?
Sure. So the first question was, when you select connections of, or you try to see who's connected to a specific person, you'll see, will you see only the ones that you're mutually connected to or all their connections? And is this controlled by my privacy settings, their privacy settings, or both?
So it's controlled by their privacy settings. You can see, now I'm gonna, if I don't want to overwhelm anyone with this answer, so if it's too much, just kind of cover yours and go, but LinkedIn will take a random 1,000 from their connections and search them. So you do not see everyone that they know that matches that criteria. You will see a list from a random 1,000 people. They do this because they want you to pay. When you pay, you get to see more. It's a little frustrating. However, what I will tell you is if we do a search, so if we do a search of people of who we want to meet, we can actually share that link with anyone and they can see their own first degree connection. So let's do a quick first degree connection people search. And then you'll see when I'm going to have you share that link with everyone and they'll see the people you want to know. So yep, we're going to come back in here, do search with filters. We're going to hit first degree. We have people first degree. Let's do New Jersey. Yep. And then show all. Okay, so if you look at the top, it will say, you'll see there's like a URL up there that actually has, it's considered, it has some filters in that. When you copy that and you paste it into chat, I will now, if I click through, I will see my first degree connections in New Jersey. So if you build this out with all the right industries and the right location, and you share that list with anyone, they will see who they want to know. So I'm going to share just so you can see how this works.
Yeah, you're going to share your screen. Guys, this is an amazing shortcut. And not just that, but this to me is amazing. Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
Lisa, real quick, are you sharing the list or the link?
The link.
I shared the link
Okay,
in chat.
okay. She said list. Okay, I want to make sure.
Oh,
Thank you.
Well, it is a
apologize.
list in a link. But and so now Brynne clicked on the link and she's going to show us what happens when she pastes the link I put in chat in her browser.
So right. So if I come into, oh, here we go. Let me get to the link. So I have now clicked on the link, and this is now people first degree New Jersey. These are my connections. I see 100% of the people that match that. So when I clicked through there, it auto-populated all of the filters. I could, right? So when I build this out, now I'm going to another advanced, I went and I bought brynneconnections.com. And that redirects to my link. So if I'm networking with anyone and they type in brynneconnections.com, this will automatically populate the people they know that I want to meet. So this is a link that you can use over and over and over again and share it with anyone. And when built well, you are now getting the insight into their connection. So you get on a Zoom and you say, hey, can you click through this link? And it will filter down to all the people that you want to know. That could also be companies, any of those links. So if you put in there, I have 30 companies I'm trying to get into, you can share that link with them. So right, so if we come back into this, and right, so let's click on the in again. We're going to go back to that search. So we're going to go my network, connections. Search with filters, people, and we're going to click on all filters or current companies. So it's interesting because usually current companies isn't an option. I can add in 10, 20, 30 companies to this. So put in all the companies that you're looking to meet someone in. When you share this with someone else, they will see if they know first degree company people at all of these companies. So this is a generic search filter that works for everyone, right? It's not searching Elisa's connections, it's searching first degree connections, right? So if we come in here, right, we hit show results. Now you take that link and you put it in the search bar, everyone clicks through it, they're going to have a different list. They're going to have their first degree connections in those companies. So these are your first degree, but if I click on that, I'll see my first degree. So if you grab that link and you put it in chat, everyone can see their first degree connections that match this.
Match that company list to help me out.
Yes.
That is so much better than somebody asking me, like a friend or something, and I say, okay, you know, my connection, this is the way it used to be. My connections are open. I have it off private. Just search through them and tell me if you want to meet anyone. Brynne, this is so important, okay? Because what we used to do is, okay, you make a connection with someone and they're being really nice and saying, you know, just go through my connections. If there's anyone you want to meet, then let me know. Well, I have 3,500 connections right now. That's a
Right.
lot of people to go through. I don't know how to filter on somebody else's connection, but now you have shown us how if I put a link in that I want those 4 packaged goods companies, I just copy that link. And instead of that person saying to me, go through my thing, I ask them, can you please run this link and tell me who pops up
And you can share your screen and you could be talking through them together.
at the same time? Wow, this is
Have them share their Zoom screen, you know,
this
just
is game changing in terms of
Elisa, I think you're
time and
misunderstanding.
I don't know.
Brynne just said it when you share that link, you share a search for first people connections at those companies and it's related to you. If I click on the link that's shared, I see my connections. I don't see mutual connections with you.
That's what we want. We want to see who you know at those companies.
to help.
Right. So now share screen. Elisa has nothing to do with this anymore. These are now your connections. And they're Lorena's connections and Kim's connections and John's connections that match these filters. So if you have, let's say, 20 companies that you're really going after, you can send that link on a Zoom call and just say, hey, Kim, if you don't mind clicking through this link, you could see if you know anyone at the companies I'm going to be applying to.
Yeah. Okay, there are a couple.
In,
Sorry.
in order to get to the link, though, did you have to go through? You can't do it the normal way, where you're just searching for, you know, people like you would normally. You have to go through the screen you showed with your connections, your network, my network.
So there are other ways to get to there. Regardless of how you get there, I don't want to confuse it because that way, the way I usually do it broke for Lisa. It wasn't working for her. So this is the way right now that is universally available to everyone. But no matter what your search is, that link will, is made up of filters. So it is that's all coded, right? So if you look, you'll see company name equals. So one of the companies is coded inside of LinkedIn as 1393. Another one is 1248. That's a code for LinkedIn to say, this is Merck. This is like every company has a different code. So when I look through this, like, I know that I don't want to get too confusing, but that when you put this into your search, it's just looking for those companies and the first degree filter. So however you get here, that link will work.
Really useful. I knew this was going to be a treat for you. And, you know, anybody who didn't come, I hope that they review this. This is one that they're going to want to review. Brynne, can't thank you enough for sharing all of your wisdom and everything from your sales experience with us. Like, such a gift you gave us all. And just thank you. I'm going to send everyone the information. As I said, by end of day tomorrow, you guys will have everything. Brynne, it was just a pleasure. And I am staying on to answer some other questions. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Brynne.
Pleasure meeting you all.
Brynne, I'll call you.
Thanks,
I'll call
Brynne.
you.
Brynne, thank you so much.
And also, Elise, you don't give yourself enough credit. We appreciate you
stop
for
it.
navigating the meeting and keeping everything in line, because this is one of the most professional JVS, and I hope this is being recorded, but this is one of the most professional networking group where you keep everything aligned, you keep people in order, and you treat us like executives, which allows us to act like executives. Thank you.
Wow.